Thanks for joining us on afl.com.au. Justin, we're right on the edge now of playing some opposition. What have you, gained over the pre-season?
Oh, yeah, it's a lot. We've had really strong pre-season. I think a lot of individuals have improved and taken their game to another level. I think been able to improve the leadership across our squad and been able to be pretty targeted with some certain things we want to work on, with our ball movement and defence and contest and stoppage work. So, it comes a time across pre-season where you're sick of playing 18 on 18 against yourself, and you want to see where your game stacks up against another opponent. So it's coming around at the right time.
If we take staying fit and healthy out of the equation, did you have a number one goal for this pre-season that you wanted to achieve with the group?
Be purposeful every day. That was the main goal. When expectations go up and people start talking about 6 months down the track, it's important that we just maintain the sense of presence and sense of being in the moment and making sure we rock up to the club every day with purpose and try to achieve something every day. So that's been the main goal out of pre-season. I think players have embraced that.
I reckon it's something most people try and do in their lives, be present and purposeful, but it can be harder, done than said. How did you make sure that the players did it?
Yeah, it's about putting processes in place and systems in place that allow them to do that. So, something we've touched on with our players is having a gold, silver, bronze for every day. So sometimes in life we get so busy that we're trying to achieve 20 things at once. So we wanted to make sure that we had 1, 2 or 3 different things that we could achieve each day. Made sure that the players reflected on the next thought about the next day the night before, and were able to sit down and have a look at the schedule and come up with their gold, silver, bronze. And then there'd be times in meetings where I would ask them to tell their teammate, or coach would ask them what their gold, silver, bronze was for each day. And like I said, the players embraced that, and most of the time they had an answer and were really purposeful with what they were trying to do.
Yep. When it comes to the way that you want to play, are you at a stage where you're making big changes or little refinements, given that you've got this group in a nice spot now?
More refinements. We've been trying to get a bit more consistency with the way we move the ball and the way we score. A lot was made of our scoring last year, and sit back in the hard light of day and reflect on the season. I think it was 10 or 11 times we scored over 90 points, whereas it was 4 times the year before. So we made some good steps forward. It's just we need to be more consistent with that and get our bottom end closer to our top end when it comes to being able to move the ball. And a lot goes into that, but being able to put a fair bit of work into that. And I think the defensive side of the game's more about tweaks rather than wholesale changes.
Yep. That ball movement, do you share the belief that the competition's going to get faster again?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it will. And I think, on the back of no rule changes, coaches tend to build on what they're doing and focus more on the offensive side of the game rather than trying to coach around what rule changes mean. So it's probably the second, third year in a row now we've just had no rule changes, and it looked like towards the back end of last year the game was starting to really open up, and teams were trying to move the ball quicker and trying to take the contest a little bit quicker and speed up off contests. So I would expect the game to continue to go in that way.
I reckon it first struck people how quick you were last pre-season and some of those tools that you had at your disposal. Is that going to be a big strength of Fremantle again?
Yeah, we feel like we've got some leg speed in our team. But I think some of it's intent and some of it's reaction speed. And the quicker we can react to turnovers both ways, usually the more efficient you are at both offence and defence. And it gets you either defensively, it allows you to close down the opposition quicker, but it allows you on offence to be able to exploit the opposition. So, working on our intent to get the ball moving as much as anything else.
Okay. If we go back to last year a little bit, the 2 finals, which one do you reckon you learnt more from? The big win or the comeback win or the sobering loss?
Oh, I learnt from both. I just think the Collingwood game was a great experience for us. So it was one we couldn't let go without reviewing. So we reviewed it after it happened, rather than sending the players directly on holidays. We made sure that we reviewed that game and aspects of that game we wanted to take into pre-season, and made sure we reviewed the experience in itself. 90,000 Collingwood supporters at the MCG is a hostile environment and great experience for our young players to play in front of that in that environment. But the Western Bulldogs game taught us a lot about how you're never out of a game, stick to the process and remain on task, and you can fight your way back. I think one of the key aspects of our game last year was our ability to fight, and we took a lot out of that. The other thing we learned a lot out of that game and the Collingwood game was can't afford to be off to a slow start in finals. Too many times throughout the year, and those finals included, we were slow starters. So we want to make sure that we're ready and we jump into games a bit quicker than that.
Yep. The 2022 pre-season, I remember you saying that the St Kilda game really stuck with you and bugged you over the summer. Was it different, I guess, this off-season? Did the Collingwood game stick with you at all, or were you okay with how the season finished?
Never okay with how the season finishes, and that's unless you win it and you take the cup home, there's always a taste in your mouth that's not great. So, I probably was pretty quick to shift from disappointment to an opportunity to learn, and making sure that we got that opportunity out of it, and we're able to bottle that experience and hopefully put ourselves in a position similar to that and learn from it and handle ourselves a lot better.
Was there anything else apart from the fast starts that stood out in those 2 finals games that you wanted to address in the review?
Oh, there's a few things. I think one of the main things was Collingwood's speed on transition and how quickly they turned defence to offence. That caught us out, especially early in the game. We weren't able to react as quickly as them, and that's something we've carried into the pre-season. Something I think we built on last year with our ability to go from offence to defence to offence. But I think that's a critical part of the game that we've needed to get better at.
Yep. How about the rest of the finals? Did you keep an eye on everything else that was going on?
I did. It seems a long time ago though. Yeah. I love the contested aspect of finals footy, and it was great for our young team to get a sense of do or die football, and the level of intensity that brings to the contest. So it's great to be a part of it.
Did you see any other gaps, I guess, with what the best teams were doing and what you're doing and how you could bridge those?
Oh, I think just the teams at the top are so consistent with what they do. Week in, week out, quarter to quarter, contest to contest, they're consistent with everything they do. And we've already spoken about our offence. We weren't consistent enough with our offence week to week or quarter to quarter. So, a lot of that has to do with our intent to keep going at the game and trust ourselves and trust our teammates that the options are going to be there and go before the opposition gets set. So, they were lessons across the whole season, really.
Yep. Youth is obviously a theme at Freo. Knowing that you've got those senior leaders still at the club, how do you harness the youth that you have to make sure that's an asset on game day?
Oh, on Well, on game day, once it gets to game day, everyone who's out there deserves an opportunity and is AFL ready, in my mind. So there's no passes get handed out for being young on game day. You're selected so that you step up to the mark. Going forward, we're going to be probably young again this year at times, but my expectation is that they've done the work, they understand their roles, understand our game plan, and are able to execute it. So, I think our young players have been able to lean on and learn from some of our older players, and that's continued across the pre-season. With Andy and Caleb and that era of players bringing the next group through. As funny as it sounds because they're so young themselves, but it's expect our older guys to lead the example, but I expect our younger guys to be sponges and learn, and it's our job as coaches to make sure we fast track their development and they're AFL ready.
Do they have strengths themselves though that relate to their youth? I mean, the energy that they have, seems like there's a great camaraderie in this group as well.
I think having a younger playing group, they probably hang out more away from the club, which builds those connections a bit deeper and stronger. And you definitely know from those connections that their games grow closer because they're talking about footy. They're either living together and you're sort of able to get a fair bit of momentum from them leading each other or setting a great example of each other, or for each other. So, I think we're in a pretty good spot as a list, and hopefully the new guys that have come to the club have felt a part of the club and connected to the club and the playing group as quickly as we can, and they understand what it takes to be a Fremantle footballer.
Yep. Just one more back on the Magpies game. The tackling seems like something that you've put a bit of work into this pre-season. Was that something that you picked up on in that game?
No, it's probably something we picked up on across the season. And I think it's something we actually improved on from the previous year. So it's probably been a bit more of a progression. I understand it's probably highlighted in that game. Felt like they played at a greater intensity with their pressure than what we could do to them. And there's probably spoken a little bit over the pre-season about us relying on too few with our pressure. So we added a few different things to our program, but it's probably more of a progression from the year before than last year.
Yep. So you get to your off-season and you head away yourself, and I've heard you speak about working on your craft. Off-season's the time to do that. What were you looking to build in your coaching?
Pretty open mind, to be honest. And in my position, it's about making sure we build an environment that allows players to be the best they can be. So any ideas around that, I probably didn't get to see as much coaching in action as I would have liked, but you do get a good sense of different environments of different sports and how they go about developing individuals and creating an environment to allow that development to happen.
Did you bring back anything specific that you wanted to implement in your program?
Yeah, a lot of things. Yeah, a lot of things specific to me as a coach. Some things that we learn over there that we embedded into our program. If you want to draw the links to what I've said earlier, but there's a lot. Like, it's hard to sit down and name because everywhere you go, you're either learning new things that allow you to reflect on, or learning things or hearing things that you either add to your coaching or allows you to reflect on your coaching or your culture. So, you learn every minute of every day.
I'll draw the link back to gold, silver, bronze.
Smart, Smooky. Yeah, it's something we picked up from San Antonio Spurs, and Brett Brown in particular spoke to us about that, and it comes from a book written by Ryan Holiday on destiny as a discipline, making the main thing the main thing. Like it seems pretty simple, but quite often we get so busy in life that we're trying to do 20 things at once, but to have purpose and to build on one or two things every day takes routine and takes a bit of discipline. So couldn't have been more impressed with the time and the learnings we got from the Spurs. It's a good organisation.
You talk about consistency a bit. It seems to me that that's probably a word that relates to San Antonio as well. Did you target them as a club that you wanted to visit?
I'd been there before, and the opportunity came up to go there again, and the opportunity came up to spend an extra day there through Matty Nielsen, and he's a good Freo supporter. I didn't know that at the time, but he's a Freo supporter, and he was really welcoming to us, and we're able to just observe. And one thing that I learnt that we're trying to replicate here is the way you treat people, and people are a key part of the organisation. And hopefully we're on the pathway to making people feel like this is a place they connect to, which is something that they do really well. They invite people into their organisation and expect it to be a two-way learning process, which shows a level of openness and a level of humbleness that they're always looking for avenues to get better. And we saw that in spades.
Yep. Further along in the off-season, you had a few people who didn't want to be at the organisation and left in Rory, Blake and Griffin Logue as well. Did you have any worries about losing them or how they left?
Oh, it's hard to talk to the collective because each individual circumstance is different. Probably on reflection, part of my role and maybe a role that I didn't do as well as I could have last year was to sell opportunity to some of those guys and give them a clear explanation of where they fit in our organisation and my vision for them going forward. That's sometimes tricky to do as a senior coach because you don't want to sell hope that's not necessarily there, or you don't want to, make promises you can't keep. It's probably a better way to put it. So I'm always trying to tread that line, but maybe I could have trod that line a little bit better. It's always reflections, and we'd be negligent as a football club if we didn't reflect on all the different things that happened to us throughout the year. So that's another opportunity for us to learn.
How did that relate specifically to Rory?
Rory's an interesting one. I don't think Rory was ever going to stay post this year. We held him to a contract last year. He never firmly committed to us as a club. So I don't think that really applies to him necessarily. Griff last year probably wanted to be a backman. We played him forward a lot. He missed out on the team earlier in the year. Maybe he's one I could have sold a bit more of a bigger picture to. And Miki was probably the other one. Miki probably saw us getting Luke Jackson, probably saw that he was behind Sean Darcy and probably didn't really see an opportunity for him at the footy club. But maybe I could have sold that to him a bit better and had those conversations a bit more regularly with him. But you don't want to sell false hope, and you don't want to make promises you can't deliver on either as a senior coach, because you lose a lot of trust within the playing group if you do that. So, it's just a balance you need to get.
The group that you've got now, do you feel like the roles that you maybe lost with that group, you've been able to cover them adequately and even improve in some parts?
Time will tell. Yep. I've been really happy with our pre-season. Guys leaving has opened opportunity for other players. And we've made some really good additions to our list. So, we'll see how it goes.
The year ahead for you, I guess sticking to the process seems to be a big thing for you when you're not at the club, when you're on your off-season. Does your mind ever drift to outcomes and what's possible
all the time
for the group? Yeah,
all the time. Yeah, absolutely. I try and practice what I preach, and make sure that I'm really organised and really planned. I map out pre-season so that gives the players best opportunity to be purposeful every day, and try and make sure that I'm only taking one step at a time rather than trying to climb the mountain in one day. And look too far ahead of myself. So it's. I think we all do in life. We look a long way down the track, and we have all personal goals and ambitions, but it's what you do day to day that helps you achieve those things. So I'm pretty quick to check myself and get back to the process.
What does it look like when your mind drifts to outcomes?
No, you can only imagine. Like I dream about, hopefully, what every player dreams about in the AFL and every coach dreams about in the AFL. I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't. So, it's great to have goals, great to have long-term things you can look forward to and ambition, but it's the day-to-day systems and strategies and processes you put in place that allow you to achieve those longer-term goals.
There's massive excitement from fans given that there hasn't been a premiership at Fremantle. Do you feel like this group and you as well prepared for that excitement and been able to manage it while also performing?
Yeah, I think, understand that the expectations, put the magnifying glass on wins and losses, and sometimes that can either build overexcitement or pressure or criticism at a greater rate than when you're not expected to go well. So we've spoken about that as a playing group, and it's something that I like to do is talk about those distractions that could possibly come and make sure if they happen, when they happen, we're well prepared for them. We've spoken about those things, and we'll continue to speak on those things over the next couple of weeks in the lead up to round one. And it's every season you go through has ups and downs and different challenges. So there's best you can get prepared for them, the better.
Yep. A few changes in your midfield with Nathan Fyfe coming out, David Mundy retiring, and Jager coming in. Are you going to be a better midfield, do you think?
Well, not because we lost those guys, because of the development of our younger players. The addition of Luke Jackson gives us really a real diversity in the ruck. Like him and Sean, are quite different with the way they go about it. Bring a different skill set, which hopefully makes them a really strong ruck tandem across the season. And I think our younger developing mids have taken their game to another level and really worked on their cohesion and contest work and transition. So I'm hoping we take a step forward through there.
How about James Ash? He seems to have gone inside a lot more this pre-season. Is that about building that part of his game and then returning to the wing, or do you want him inside a lot more?
Yeah, it's something we did a bit last year, was give him opportunity to go on ball, and he's a bit of a Mr. Fix-It for us. Plug him in, let him play, and he seems to play the role really well. He's the sort of guy that will do whatever the team needs. I probably got him here, to be honest, to be a half-back. So, we've been able to put him on the wing and on ball, and he's been able to do some run-with roles for us and quieten some players when they get off the chain. And it's handy to have that flexibility in the team as a coach, and players who can put their own game aside and, do whatever the team needs. So, we'll continue to see what it looks like for him in the midfield, continue to give him some opportunity, but he's probably one of our best wingers as well. So, we'll try and strike a balance there.
How's the other wing going to look, do you think, come round one? Ethan Hughes seems to have done a good job when he's been out there.
Yeah, Hughes has stepped up to that challenge really well. I think it was an opportunity we gave him last year through the lack of opportunity as a backline. He did a really good job of embracing that opportunity, but also upskilling himself, and handled it well. The opportunity he got. Liam Henry, been impressed with his attitude over the pre-season. The level of consistency in his training should take his game to another level. And Driz has had a minor hiccup with a bit of a hot spot in his foot, but we expect him to be ready for round one as well. So there's a few options there.
Yep. Of the line groups, your back, forward, and midfield, is there one that you've spent more time sort of thinking about or working with personally over the pre-season?
Probably not working with personally. Probably the forward line. Like thinking about what our ideal structure is, ideal balance. How we're going to be able to score more consistently, but still be able to lock the ball inside 50. I think that's probably the area of the ground where we, probably aren't as set, maybe. So that's, given me it's probably occupied my thinking a little bit more than the other lines. But I know JG and Adam Reid are doing a great job developing our forwards, and I think there's a depth in our forward line that's going to make it hard for selection round one.
What do you want to see from your forwards through these two practice games?
I want to see them work together as a forward line. I want to see them, really see it as a group of 6 players working together to help us score and defend. Sometimes you can get caught up in hitting the scoreboard yourself and it all being about an individual or individuals kicking the goals when as long as the scoreboard looks right at the end of the day, I don't really care who kicks them. Or as long as we work together and we provide really good options for our midfield, and like I said, we're able to find the balance between offence and defence.
Yep. Sam Sukowski, is he going to head into the midfield a little bit more?
We've given him opportunity throughout the pre-season. Lockie Schultz is another one we've given opportunity at centre bounce, and Shooter's keeping a running tally of how many centre bounces he attends and how many centre bounces he's won, and he's going at about 100% at the moment. So it's putting pressure on me to play him there more often. But him and Switter, it's good for their development. They've been able to really embed their roles as small forwards and all the small forward roles, and to give them another opportunity to grow into a different area and give them a taste for a different area is good for their development. I can't sit here and say how many centre bounces Switter's going to attend because it might not be many, but we know we've always got it up our sleeve.
Yep. Finish on the character of the group. I heard you say a few times this pre-season you want them to fight for everything, and Alex Pearce mentioned that as well. He was announced as captain. Is that a little window into the character that you want to see from this group?
Oh, we play our best footy when we fight for everything. The Bulldogs game doesn't happen if we don't keep fighting. So, it's something as a club we've always fought for everything we've got from our inception. So, we're not going to stop doing that.
Who drives it? Who are the players that sort of give you that?
Well, I think we've seen a number of different, actions across the last year, whether it's Chappie's spoil in round one to win us a game, whether it's Andy's chase down tackles week after week. Caleb heading the hole, Luke Ryan sticking up for his teammates. It's there, hopefully, in a lot of different moments across the game. So it's not one person. No, we'll never rely on one person at this footy club. We'll do it as a collective, and that's what we're going to try and do this year.